Problem number 8. Ichiro plans to spend no more than $60 for both lunch and dinner each day during his vacation. This is an important part of the sentence, no more than, which means he would be willing to spend up to $60 or he would be willing to spend less than $60. Complete the following. Write an inequality that models this relationship. Let X represent the amount spent in dollars that he spends on lunch each day, and let Y represent the amount in dollars that he spends on dinner each day. So to write this inequality, Ichiro is going to spend X dollars on lunch. Then in the evening, he'll add to that the amount of money that he spends on dinner, which according to the problem is called Y. And from the very beginning of the problem, it tells us that he wants to spend less than or equal to $60, no more than $60. Now, just a reminder, there are no ECRs or BCRs on the HSA anymore. However, this problem could be put in the form of a multiple choice question where you would have to select the correct inequality. So it's still important to look at these problems even though you would not have to do ECRs or BCRs. The second part of the problem asks us to graph the inequality on the grid provided in the answer book. And again, you would not have to graph this, but they might have answer choices that ask you to select the correct graph. So I'm going to graph the inequality down here for you. To graph this, remember, we always want to get our equation in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to get Y by itself by moving X to the right-hand side by subtraction. So I would have Y is less than or equal to, moving the X, I would get negative X plus 60. Now, I'm going to treat that inequality as an equal. I'm not going to let that concern me at this point. Remember, I have a slope and a y-intercept. So in this problem, the slope is the coefficient of x, or the number in front of x. So my slope is a negative 1, and my y-intercept, the b, is 60. Now, if this were a multiple choice question, they would probably have a scale that maybe went by tens or fives or something like that. So my y-intercept, if I count by 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. My y-intercept would be 60. And then I could either use the slope and do rise over run, or I could plug in another value for x to find another point. But if I go down 1 and right 1, that would give me another point. Since I have an equal to in my inequality, I'm going to make my line solid. And then the last thing I would have to do is to do some shading. Because Ichiro wants to spend less than this amount, we're going to shade below, because when it's less than, we shade below. When it's greater than, we shade above. Part 3. On Thursday, Ichiro spent exactly $60 on lunch and dinner. He spent 3 times as much on dinner as he spent on lunch. How much did Ichiro spend on lunch? How much did he spend on dinner? Use math to explain your answer. Well, again, you would not have to explain your answer, but you might have to choose a correct answer. So let's work this problem out. Ichiro spent 3 times as much on dinner as he did on lunch. So according to the problem, we already know that Ichiro spent X dollars on lunch, and if he spent 3 times that amount on dinner, then his dinner cost would be 3 times X. So that would be the amount he paid for dinner on this particular day. They told us that if you add his lunch price together to his dinner cost, he spent exactly $60. So to solve this equation, we're going to combine like terms and get 4x equal to 60. divide both sides by 4, and x is equal to 15. Now remember, x represents the amount that he spent on lunch, so he spent $15 on lunch. And then to figure out how much he spent on dinner, we're going to substitute 15 in place of x here. 3 times 15 is $45 that he spent on his dinner.